is this?
Wow.
How fun is this?
I'm tripping.
You're tripping?
Yeah.
You're usually them pointing the camera at somebody.
Oh, yeah. I'm never on this side ever, so cool.
Man, this docuseries is excellent, excellent, excellent. I was mad. I was mad again. I felt something. I had all different perspectives. What is family vlogging for those of us that don't know?
Wow. Well, I'm glad those reactions all happened because that was what we felt while we were working on the show. And I say we because, you know, documentaries are made collectively with a bunch of people. And family vlogging is the practice of filming one's family for a channel, a YouTube channel usually, or, you know, social media generally.
Who is watching that? I mean, I don't even want to look at my friends' kids' pictures. But then these families have millions of subscribers and views and brand deals. What's the appeal?
I mean, this is why we needed Hannah Cho, who, if you watch our series, guides us through, because she's the ultimate fan. And I had those same questions watching the content, but realizing this is one of YouTube's biggest verticals. So billions of views are on these videos. It is huge and vast. And that's why in the opening of our series, we actually talk about the draw that shows like the Kardashians or the Osbournes have had for years. And even going back earlier, there were other shows like on PBS, which, you know, people sometimes watch, which is, you know, that's where it all started. Like people watched these families doing their thing, and there is a draw.
But I know it doesn't always seem like it, but traditional TV, there are some guardrails, there are producers, there are people that come over here in between the act and say, Michael, you f***ed up, you're not coming to work tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly.
But for YouTube, the producer, the writer, the accountant, the HR, it's the mom, it's the dad.
Exactly, and it's so...
And the actors are the kids. So let's talk about the E word. I don't know what that is. No. Exploitation is the E word.
Let's
talk about exploitation.
These
families are profiting financially, but so much of their content is a 6-year-old playing in a sandbox or refusing to eat the dinosaur chicken nuggets or whatever. Is this exploitation?
I mean, that's the central question here. And I think this also takes us into larger questions about kids in entertainment as well, because learning about family channels, it really, you know, when I was doing the research for it, I was actually thinking, well, what kid could we find that I could say, what was it like for you doing this? And, you know, there's hardly any who are old enough, although a few that have come out recently and spoken. But when we were making the series, it was hard to find them. So I actually realized, oh, well, I guess we could turn to the world of regular entertainment and those kids that grew up on some level on TV. And in a similar way, I had that thought, well, yes, they consented, but did they fully consent at age 6 to, you know, and you wonder that. So there's always that dynamic where a parent might really want to do this thing. And that question exists around kids.
I am terrified to show my kids at all. And that's my moral code. That's not because they're uggos. I don't like that my daughter is 5 now starts to notice when the camera's out and behave differently for the camera, right? That was it feels to me like the one pure innocent thing that's left is a child's belief in the world and innocence. And to me, this is me watching your wonderful docuseries, it made me so angry that the parents are taking that from their kids. Is that a fair reaction?
I mean, I think that's a really poignant and
I'm trying to get you to say yes, but you're not gonna, because that's what this docuseries does so well, is it gets you to think about a lot of different things. And that was important to you. And are you a parent, and did that inform you making this?
Yeah, no, I have a son who's 12 now, and I think about that because actually I think that distinction is also pretty big, weirdly. It's from 6 to 12. 12, like, good luck getting your phone out of a 12-year. Like, everyone has a phone, and they're playing a million games, and they're doing all this stuff. And I had that initial thought, like, you'll never, ever get a phone, ever. Oh, okay, well, how did you suddenly get a phone? And how, you know, it's like this weird thing. And then also, like, you'll never, ever look at YouTube. And there's just, like, no way. to avoid it, is what I've learned. So then the question is, well, how do we sort of manage it and put guardrails in place? And I will say, some people that I look at, I'm like, wow, you post all the time, and I'm gonna judge that. But then, you know, I have to say, like, there have been a couple times, like, he won a soccer game. I want to show this thing. It's something really cool. And I know some of my friends who I never see will want to see this thing. And there is the cool, good factor of sharing photos. And these apps have made that possible, you know, in this way. So I think there's just this moral question that is needed to be discussed by smart people, like, you know.
My daughter in the morning, she'll say, "Can I watch TV?" And I'll say, "No." And she'll say, "Can I watch you on TV?" And I'll say,
Touché.
And I'll say, "You know what? That doesn't sound like a terrible idea." She knows that'll work. Let's talk about the Stauffers. And let's talk about that. This is the family that the docuseries really focuses on. Tell us a little bit about them and what went down.
Well, in a lot of ways, the Stauffers were almost like an average family vlogger account. They did everything right in the world of what you do and what YouTube actually incentivizes you to do. And they had all the things. You know, you have a charismatic, good-looking couple, you have kids, and it all works. And, you know, this sort of set of things that you do for your channel that work really well in that environment. And so the Stauffers were just chugging along. And as you learn from our series, having kids is good content. So every time they had a kid, it would do well for them. And that
not only do well, they can actually see the analytics and see that with these kids and new kids, our viewership goes up, our subscribers goes up, our money goes up.
Yeah.
What does that lead to?
So then in 2017, after they've been running this for a while, they decide to adopt a kid from China. And there's a myriad of reasons why they decide a kid from China makes sense for their channel and for their family and their life. And it all is very public.
Yes.
Extremely public. And the fans are immediately like, woo, let's do this, as though it's like a group decision.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of thing that I think our series really gets into, is like, okay, these really personal things, like suddenly exposed, take on a life of their own and morph. And like, should these things be even allowed to have this large audience? You know, you're making a massive decision for your life and for another person's life. And suddenly tons of people are weighing in on that.
I would never see a family at the park and think I can weigh in on their family decisions. But because they've overshared so much for so long, years, I've developed a relationship with them. And now I have the right to say, hey, you're doing that incorrectly. Or, and man, is it wild what goes down.
It is. Yeah, so what ends up happening is, after having him integrated in the family for a few years, they make a decision to dissolve the adoption. Yeah. And I know. So oh God, hearing you guys make that sound, it's so real. Wow. No, but you live in documentaries, you're just editing. You don't have real people responding, but you know.
And I heard that sound and I thought, we're gonna get so many more views on YouTube now. That's why I'm sitting right here. That's how I think.
Wow.
No, but that's how people. That's how we watch this docuseries.
Oh, okay.
Like this. Why did they do that? And then, of course, I pause it to get a glass of water. My wife's like reading the whole story on Wikipedia, ruining it. But. Yeah, and so that's when this thing kind of turns, and then the commenters take over, right?
Yeah, and so in a way, these two things intersect. You know, the most horrific decision happening in the family's life and the life of, you know, this child, everything is just suddenly, that's their decision. They dissolve the adoption, but then at the same time, the internet crushes them. And I mean, unbelievable. When some of the things that drew me into the story were the actual videos in response, because they were terrifying. I was like, oh my God, the level of anger, which is also an understandable level of anger. But when so many people are sending death threats and going crazy on you.
How dare you do that to those children? I'm going to slit your children's throat. What?
That's right.
Wait a sec. You know, I just would say to all YouTube commenters, you'll have a lot more success with your comment if you don't threaten life or killing. You can make good points without threatening life, but that's not where we're at, is it? No. So let's talk about, in film and TV, there are child protection and laws in place.
Yeah.
Coogan's Law,
The
is that
Coogan
right?
Law, yeah.
But that does not exist in YouTube or vlogging world.
There have been some changes in the last few years, like a couple of states, Illinois and I think it's Ohio, and then also California, have made inroads into changing certain things. In fact, I think one of the laws was actually very much limiting certain amounts of time on the when your child is, because a kid could technically work a full 8-hour day.
Yeah.
Or 12
work.
yeah.
I mean, that's what's so disheartening to me. It's like the parents are at the playground with their kids, and the mom or the dad is going, "Okay, thanks for watching, everybody." It's like, hey, put it down. Go play with the kid. But that is work. They can potentially make money off of that.
Right.
Yeah, I wish I made money when I took my kid to the playground. I mean, playing princess and king and all that shit, and after I do it, I look at it and I say, I actually lost money doing this. Can you family vlog in an ethical way that's non-exploitative to your children? I know you're a director of a docuseries. You're a director of a docuseries. You're not the ethical leader of the entertainment industry, but you like to tackle ethics in entertainment.
No, I'm glad you're asking that question, because the thing that sucks so bad is that when I met these people, I actually liked them. I was like, you're a good person, and I think you're actually doing good by your kids, and they were cool, like reasonable. And then what I started to realize was that, wow, you got in over your head, and this thing snowballed, and the industry snowballed, and like, holy crap, like we're catching up to it. Which is also why one of the greatest comments I thought was by one of the YouTubers himself, Harold Earls. He said, YouTube likes to try to pull your content to the edges, and we have to fight against it. So I could see there, if you're in over your head or the thing is doing this, you're trying. And I was thinking, wow, okay, so you're really trying. And
to be wholesome and earnest, or to at least show that.
Well, and that's the other side of it, is that this world of a facade that can feel absolutely ridiculous. And so I think we have regular people that have gotten sucked into, as you said, a complete and total world of entertainment, but they don't have, the guy right there who is like a story producer, and like, you know what, it's not going to work. Or the executive being like, we cannot do this. They're just, your fans are wanting this, give it to them. And can it be done ethically? I mean, I wish I actually had an answer to that, but I think this is where the really big question exists for the social media companies. Like, what do you guys think? Can we figure this out?
And your job isn't to answer. Your job is to help us ask the question. And it's a tremendous docuseries. Thank you for making it. I can't believe how much work must have gone into it. So all 3 episodes of An Update on Our Family are now available to stream on Max. Rachel Mason, everybody.